2020.
Arts Camp Day 2!
All right, to set up your palette, what you're gonna do is use one of your brushes. This is sort of the next to the largest angled brush size, and I'm gonna use it kind of like a spoon. And I'm gonna scoop a little bit of paint in the colors that I want out of my cups. And this will just keep you from contaminating all the colors of your paint before you can use them. And I'm gonna do this with each color. I could rinse my brush out each time, or I could use this for the background, because what we're gonna do is kind of create a multicolored background with all the colors. So you could use a little bit of this in the background, or you can just rinse your brush out each time. And remember that the bottom of the bucket or the cup is what gets your brush clean. So you wanna make sure that your brush goes all the way to the bottom so that you get those brush bristles clean. And then if you'll put it against the side of the cup, roll the brush between your fingers like this. That gets the excess water off. And then of course you can dry some on the paper towel as well. So then I'm gonna go to the next color here and scoop a little bit of this color out. Maybe not quite as much as the other. So I'm gonna keep on doing this until I have all the colors that I wanna use out onto my plate. We're going to be painting our background today. So I've set my palette up, ready to paint, and I'm gonna use a combination of these colors for the background, and I'm gonna blend them as I go. And what I'm gonna do is sort of make this area darker, and as I move around the leopard's face and come down towards the bottom, I'm gonna use more light colors and white to make this lighter. So I'm gonna start with some black up here in the corner. And by the way, I'm using my 3/4 inch flat wash brush. This is the largest brush. So I'm gonna put a little bit of black here in the corner. And I'm using these kind of wispy brush strokes. They look like little smiley faces. And if you've done Arts Camp with me before, you probably are familiar with this brush stroke. Then I'm gonna pick up some dark blue, and I'm gonna start blending that in as well. And one thing I don't wanna do is completely cover my brush strokes. I wanna be able to see the different layers of paint and the different brush strokes as I create each color. So this area up here is pretty dark. I'm mixing in some blue. I just added a little bit of black first, and now I'm using my dark blue. And I'm gonna start picking up some of the lighter blue as I move across the canvas towards the left. So now I have more turquoise blue, and I'm just kind of putting the paint on there in brush strokes and leaving it. I'm not over blending this because I want to be able to see all these different brush strokes and variations of color. Hopefully this is showing up well enough on the camera. And then at this point, I'm going to mix in some green. So I'm gonna start gradually changing from the blue to the green by picking up some green. If it feels like it's too green, I can always pick up some more of that turquoise blue and start mixing that back in. All right, and then I'm gonna pick up some yellow. Now yellow is kind of a weak color, so it is going to get overpowered by the green, which is fun. But if you'll kind of blob it on there, you should still be able to see some of that yellow showing through. Or if you want more yellow, you can stop and rinse your brush out and then start with fresh yellow. So I'm rinsing my brush over here. And remember that the bottom of your cup or jar is what gets the bristles clean. So you want to make sure that you put your brush all the way to the bottom as you're rinsing it out. I'm just kind of pushing that gently on the bottom of my jar. And when I bring my brush out of the jar, I'm going to put it against the side of the jar, and I'm just going to roll the handle between my fingers and kind of squeeze out the excess water. And then of course you can dab it on your paper towel as well. Now I'm going to go back with just plain yellow. So now my yellow is really bright, and I'm going to let that still mix in with the green that was there. So I get kind of this lime green color in this area. And then I'm going to add some white because I want to start lightening this up. Maybe even some of that turquoise blue back in there with some white. So I'm starting to add white, and I'm really lightening this area up as I go down because I want this area down here to be a little bit lighter. So it's sort of like he's coming out of the shadows, coming out of the dark. And I'm just sort of blobbing the paint on there. I'm not smashing the brush. I'm still, you know, being gentle with the bristles. And I'm getting quite a bit of green here. I want some more blue, so I'm going to pick up some more blue. I'm going carefully around his face. And again, this does not have to be perfectly smooth. We want these splotchy brush strokes for our background. Pick up some more white. And I'm painting pretty quickly, but you guys can take all the time you need. And if you feel like I'm going too fast, pause the video, and then you can get caught up and then start it again whenever you're ready. So now I have these colors kind of changing as I go. And what I don't want is to have a distinct line where it goes from one color to the next. So if it does, what you can do is pick up one of the colors, preferably the lighter of the two colors, and go back and kind of blend the colors together. Another thing you can do, if you want to add some additional colors on top, you could do that as well. So I had some blue in my brush, so when I added that pink there, it made purple. And if you want purple, because we didn't include purple with your paints, but if you want some purple, you can mix some of the magenta and some of that blue, and it'll give you a beautiful shade of purple. And that's going to be it for day 2.